If an angel proclaims from the Qutub Minar that India can attain Swaraj within 24 hours, if I relinquish my demand for Hindu-Muslim unity, I shall retort, no, my friend, if Hindu-Muslim unity is lost, it will be a loss for mankind.
क्योंकि अगर स्वराज मिलने में ताखीर हुई तो ये हिंदुस्तान का नुकसान होगा, लेकिन अगर हमारा इत्तेहाद जाता रहा तो ये आलम इंसानियत का नुकसान है.
So said Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. Abul Kalam Muhyiddin Ahmed was born in Mecca in 1888. He inherited the tradition of great Islamic learning from his parents. His father, Hazrat Khairuddin, moved his family to Calcutta in 1890. Young Muhyiddin had his entire education in the traditional Muslim fashion, and in a rare feat of educational attainment, he started teaching at the tender age of 16.
हूँ नर्म दिल के दोस्त के मानिंद रो दिया, दुश्मन ने भी जो अपनी मुसीबत बयान की, आजाद ये खुदी का नशेबो फराज दे.
His first poem at the age of 14 and his first ghazal at 16 held promise of a poet in the making. In 1905, young Muhyiddin was swept into revolutionary secret societies in Calcutta. Shamsundar Chakravarti, a terrorist revolutionary, took him into the inner circle. He met Aurobindo Ghosh, whose paper Karma Yogin had a great impact on young Muhyiddin. Sir Sayyid Ahmed's writings also had some influence on the young boy, who asked himself,
एक आलमी हकीकत का अक्स और मजहर है, तो फिर मुख्तलिफ मज़ाहिब के पैरों के दरमियान इख्तिलाफ व आविज़िश के क्या मानी?
He found no answer and broke off all conventional ties, gave up his prayers, and adopted the pen name Azad, or free, free from all inherited beliefs. In 1908, this scholar turned revolutionary from Bengal went on a tour of Iraq, Egypt, Syria, and Turkey. He met revolutionaries and leaders of the Young Turk movement. He discovered the sad contrast between the Muslims of other countries who were fighting for freedom and democracy and the Muslims of India who were taking a pro-British and anti-nationalist stand. Azad became convinced that Indian Muslims must fight for the political liberation of their own country. With this object in view, he started the Al-Hilal in 1912. A new style of writing was introduced, which helped to shape the trend of modern Urdu. Through the Al-Hilal, Azad called upon Indian Muslims to shake off their negative attitude to India's struggle for freedom, to line up for the fight for independence. 13 MacLeod Street, Calcutta, the Al-Hilal Press became the nerve center of Muslim resurgence in India.
Do you realize what will be written about a group of 70 million persons? It would be inscribed, there was an unfortunate and ill-fated community which served as an obstacle in the way of the country's progress.
जो हमेशा मुल्क की तरक्की के लिए रोक, मुल्क की फलाह के लिए एक बदकिस्मती, राह आजादी में एक संग गिरा, हाकिमाना तमा का खिलौना, दस्ते अजानिब में बाजीचे लाभ, हिंदुस्तान की पेशानी पर एक गहरा जख्म और गवर्नमेंट के हाथ में मुल्क की उमंगों को पामाल करने के लिए एक पत्थर बनकर रही. उसमें लिखा जाएगा कि एक काबिल रहम मगर मशहूर इंसानों का गल्ला, जिसके हर फर्द को किसी काहिन ने अपने मंत्र से जानवर बना दिया था, जो अपने नचाने वाले आका के हाथ में अपनी गर्दन की रस्सी देखती थी, जिसमें कोई इंसानी इरादा, कोई इंसानी दिमाग।
The foreign rulers and the Muslim League were frightened lest Indian Muslims should see through their game and banned the Al-Hilal and confiscated its deposit. Azad answered the British by bringing out a new paper, Al-Balag, with Al-Hilal's tone and tenor. Afraid of losing Muslim support, in 1916, the government of Bengal banned Al-Balag also and externed the intrepid Azad from Calcutta. He was interned in a house near Tagore Hill at Ranchi. Living in isolation here in this house, Azad wrote his famous Tarjumanul Quran. To educate the Muslim masses at Ranchi, Maulana Azad founded this madrasa. In 1920, Azad met Gandhi. It was a meeting of two great minds, two great believers in the freedom of our people. In 1923, Azad became the Congress president and declared,
हमें हिंदुस्तान में न किसी हिंदू संगठन की जरूरत है, न मुस्लिम संगठन की। हमें सिर्फ एक संगठन की जरूरत है, और वो है इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस।
In Quayle Faisal, Azad exhorted the Muslims to merge the Khilafat and India's freedom movement into one. Fight for the freedom of Turkey, yes, but why not for India's own freedom, he asked. From 1923, the life story of Abul Kalam Azad merged with the story of India's struggle for freedom. A notable Urdu and Persian poet, in spite of hectic political commitments, Maulana Azad found time to write many books and letters, which achieved a permanent niche in Urdu literature. A connoisseur of classical painting, his comments on some Mughal paintings are a testimony to his penetrating sensitivity as an art critic. The strings of the sitar had a great attraction for him. A man of varied talent, he learnt to play the sitar from Ustad Masita Khan. In 1939, the world was engulfed in the Second World War. Azad was the Congress president. India's freedom movement gained momentum. When the Cripps mission came in 1942, India offered to cooperate with Britain in her fight against fascism, only on the promise of full freedom at the end of the war. The Cripps mission failed. On the 9th of August 1942, the Indian National Congress met under Azad's presidentship and passed the Quit India Resolution. All the national leaders were arrested. A reign of terror was let loose on unarmed Indians. While in Ahmednagar Fort Jail, Azad wrote a preface to the Tarjumanul Quran and a series of letters later compiled as Gubare-Khatir, a gem of Urdu literature. Here, in jail, he received the sad news of his wife's death in Calcutta. After 3 years in Ahmednagar jail, Azad returned home. From Howrah, he drove straight to Maniktala, where his wife, Zulekha Begum, was laid to rest. Zulekha, who sacrificed her family life for India's freedom struggle. In 1946, the cabinet mission came to negotiate terms of Indian independence. Azad, the apostle of freedom with unity, clarified India's stand. No division was his rigid demand as the President of the Indian National Congress. The statesman in Azad convinced the mission of the inevitability of unity with Purna Swaraj, and the cabinet mission declared, Pakistan is neither practicable nor just. The cabinet mission came out with a proposal for the establishment of a 3-tier federal government with a united center, 3 groups of provinces, and the provinces as its constituent units. The mission accepted Azad's view that the majority of subjects be treated at the provincial level. The cabinet mission's plan was accepted by the Congress and the Muslim League. Azad called this a glorious event in the history of the freedom movement in India. Maulana Azad invited Jawaharlal Nehru to take over as President of the Congress, since Azad felt that India was on the threshold of freedom and his life's mission fulfilled. The attitude of the Muslim League resulted in the division of India into 2 nations. Maulana Azad's dream lay shattered. August 1947, India became independent. As a result of partition, millions became homeless in one of the greatest migrations in human history. Over 10 million refugees moved into India. In the first cabinet of independent India, Azad became the Minister of Education. His historic speech at Jama Masjid in 1948.
The partition of India was fundamentally wrong. The rising tide of suffering today is the direct result of the misguided leadership of the Muslim League and the colossal blunders committed by it. Dear friends, you must change yourself radically. Come, let us take the pledge that this country is ours.
वो यकीनन मुस्लिम लीग की गलत क़ियादत की फाश गलतियों का बदीही नतीजा है। अजीजों, अपने अंदर एक बुनियादी तब्दीली पैदा करो। आओ अहद करो कि यह मुल्क हमारा है, हम इसी के लिए हैं और इसकी तकदीर के बुनियादी फैसले हमारी आवाज के बगैर अधूरे ही रहेंगे।
As Minister of Education, Maulana Azad assumed the heavy responsibility of raising the standard of literacy, modernization of education, establishment of science and technology to meet the demand of India's industrial and rural development. Maulana Azad declared open the National Library in Calcutta, a storehouse of knowledge, a place of learning. Schools and colleges do not put us in the home of knowledge. They bring us only to the door. It is then up to us to take advantage of a library service which is not only a source of history but provides readers truthful information about conditions in the country and the real needs of our people.
वो दरअसल कुतुबखाने से मकसूद यह है, कुतुबखाने के सर्विस से मकसूद यह है कि एक मुल्क को उसकी हालत और ज़रूरत के मुताबिक और किताबों के जो पढ़ने वाले हैं उनकी हालत के मुताबिक जिस तरह का लिटरेचर, जिस तरह की किताबें चाहिए.
As Free India's first education minister, Azad established the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, now housed in Azad Bhavan. He encouraged cultural exchanges, particularly amongst countries of Asia and Africa. He provided facilities for students from developing countries to receive education in Indian universities, for he believed that India should give her best to the world and assimilate what is good in other cultures. The last 30 pages of Maulana Azad's autobiography, India Wins Freedom, are kept in safe custody here. The contents of these pages will become known only in 1988, that is, 30 years after his death, in deference to his wishes. A doyen of India's composite culture, the apostle of Hindu-Muslim unity, Muhyiddin Ahmad Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, passed away on 22nd February 1958. A giant among intellectuals and a great statesman, Azad gave all he had to the nation. He died homeless, penniless. He had said,
मेरी जिंदगी का सारा मातम यह है कि इस अहद और महल का आदमी न था मगर इसके हवाले कर दिया गया.
On his death, Dr. Rajendra Prasad said, Maulana Azad has abandoned the mortal coil, but his spirit will continue to inspire us and others yet unborn. May we prove worthy of this great heritage.